Okay, so now we are recording, and suddenly the quality of a video just went down. Okay, it's back.
Yeah.
So I think it's recalibrating. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Boris. I'm the movie messenger. I'm a cartoonist, teacher, and podcaster. So we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, and Venky is here to join me for this. Thanks, Venky. Can you introduce yourself shortly so that people know who you are?
Uh, Hi guys, I'm Venky. I hold an Instagram channel as Venky is Living. I usually like to travel and share my ideas and inspirations for the travel and my experiences from each trip. So my channel is Venky is Living. You can find me on Instagram and probably on YouTube as well.
Yeah, actually, your channel. I mean, I really recommend it. I mean, I really love. And then actually, before we started recording, I was telling you that you should make more videos and post them on YouTube. And actually, might be really relevant for this podcast or slash podcast video, because it is about traveling, right? Like because it
Yes.
is called Far From Home. So let's get so first of all, like yeah, first let's talk about our general opinion without spoilers, and then we'll give the spoiler alert, and then we'll talk about like a short summary of the story. I mean, I know people after spoilers, normally people who have watched the movie would continue watching. Uh, but still,
But
I really love when people tell the story again. It makes you relive the movie again in a way in your
exactly.
head. Yeah.
And
So
that's always when we talk about different scenes, we kind of explore a few more things. I think that's how people find Easter eggs, right?
yes, yes.
Because you revisit and you see something new. Every time you revisit, you find something new there. But yeah, we can. I hope your audience do not care about spoilers from Endgame. By now, I think they should have watched the
Oh
Avengers.
yeah, yeah.
So
Actually, I think you. I mean, you. I mean, okay. I'm sure there are always people who are exceptions, right? Like, for example, I mean, I don't want to go too far from this movie, but I haven't seen the last season of Game of Thrones, and I know like a lot of people watched it. So anyway, so Venki, let's start with you. Like, what did you think of this movie? So, by the way, we are recording this like what after 3 days after watching
yeah,
this movie.
after 3 days
Yeah.
since
Yes.
we just made a spontaneous plan, and we have been planning to watch a movie together, and this
Yes.
was like ideal. And being it a Marvel series, then it kind of made it much easier because we are in this flow of Marvel Cinematic Universe. So,
Yes.
yeah. So no movie fades away because each movie is connected to the movie before or the movie after. So it kind of we always have like a connection to all the way back to the first Iron Man movie. So that's a cool thing about the Marvel cinemas. And yeah, the Spider-Man was something interesting. We have been seeing the trailers, and after recovering from the Infinity War and then feeling okay in the Avengers Endgame, and again feeling sad at the end of Avengers Endgame, it kind of going through this emotional ride. Spider-Man was something kind of that tries to change the tone and bring people a bit more kind of gives you this soothing pat on your back, like
Hmm.
it says
Yeah.
okay, things went wrong but it's not wrong for all, and kind of changes the pace of the universe. Probably it's a nice way to start the cinematic phase 4. And I think it will be slightly different. We can already see the difference. And if if you have seen all those trailers, it kind of each trailer has a different approach to the movie, be it from how Peter Parker feels after these events of Endgame, and all that changed because we were introduced to Peter Parker as a normal kid from Queens, from Spider-Man Homecoming, and then again we also saw him as one of the Avengers who's trying to be part of the team and trying to win the respect from the team and eventually becoming an Avenger in the Infinity War series. And now it kind of brings him back to the reality and says that, okay, you did some great things, but still you're still a kid. So here's what. So that's something, because the fact that in the end game people came back to the same timeline, right? So those people who got dusted out by Thanos are back in the same age where they left.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
so of course they call it blipped because they blipped, and we call it in our reality snap because we actually saw Thanos snap, but
yeah,
they haven't seen Thanos snap, right? So they just call it a
exactly.
blip. Yeah.
Yeah, they said that was like something. I mean, that's like a really American version of naming giving funny names to events. And so yeah, after the blip, and it's about people as a people when you come across a big event like that. And also as Spider-Man, where he kind of had a big responsibility, and one place he's becoming a man, and the other hand he is in reality he's still a kid. So it's like between giving a balance between his character as being responsible for greater things and being a kid. So that was something real that was really explored. But I would say, and in overall, it didn't amaze me as the first Spider-Man Homecoming series did, because it was so relatable with the modern, like past 90s generation.
Mhm.
Right? We saw as a kid becoming a superhero, and it was very new for people who have started seeing like the Sam Raimi's version of Spider-Man, and mostly he is usually a depressed and anxious kid, but this was something completely different. And even here, this was an anxious kid, but it was a very different take, and how modern.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the thing. I mean, we can talk about that more in detail, but actually the no,
but
I think this movie really captured. I mean, like Tom Holland is, I would say, the best Spider-Man. Actually, he actually, he looks young. He's, I don't know how old is he, but he looks like a 17-year-old kid. So,
correct.
and he in even in real life, he has this awkwardness, like this kind of like lack of confidence even in his interviews and stuff, which
Yeah,
actually makes him like the perfect. So the problem, for example, like a lot of people hate on Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man because
yeah.
he was a really good Spider-Man, but people criticize his Peter Parker because he was too confident.
Uh,
And I was like yeah, because Peter Parker, he's not that guy, like at least the way Steve
I think
Ditko, the artist, Stan Lee created him.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man and then the Amazing Spider-Man where Andrew Garfield acted. These were like two extremes of that character. Either
Mhm.
you take it too back and make him a really depressed kid who is kind of bringing the tone down all the time, and in third part they tried to change it and it became really weird.
Oh yeah, I still don't remember actually Spider-Man 3. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know.
that's like
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't remember. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's the one
And
with Venom, right? I mean,
yeah, I was the one with Venom. Even funny looking Eddie Brock. But I would say when I watched the movie, it was really engaging. But when you come out and try to see it as a whole character from part one to part three, it was really like a big misfit. And of course, when you compare it to, of course, that was way before Iron Man or even the whole concept of cinematic universe came. That was the time when we are just exploring different characters as the characters themselves. So,
so
so
it's yeah. So first of all, like like the I think, I mean, I don't know. I speak for myself, but I really love the movie.
yeah,
I think I really wanna. I don't know. It's one of the few movies that makes me. I want to rewatch it for some reason. Like
correct.
I think it has
It's
a
visually stunning. It's visually
yeah.
stunning, I would say.
It actually has this rewatchability value for that lot of movies don't have actually. So
Mm.
um, there, I don't know. I think part of so most of it, I think it's the chemistry between the cast. It feels like they are really. like for example, I watched Aquaman, and there was a lack of. I actually made a podcast about it. Like there was a
Yeah.
lack of chemistry between Jason Momoa and Amber Heard, like who played
Yeah.
Mera. You could feel it. Like they were, I don't know, they were like. So, but here, like it felt. I mean, I don't know. It was. It was a little bit going back, like the same relationship, like same goofy stuff that people did when we were in high school, and the kind of and like you said, like it really um, puts the emphasis on the responsibility of Peter Parker, and at the same time he wants to be with this girl, but he can't. Like and you really feel the frustration, and actually, like even when there's this, there's this guy like Brad who actually, like he aged 5 years, so now all the girls want him, and he is also interested in Mary Jane, and I mean, this is not a spoiler, but like it's not going to spoil. But there's this moment where he looks from the entrance of the opera, and then he has to, but he looks but actually no, he can't go there. Like he has to go fight this monster, and like so.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That was.
yeah.
No, they really capture it beautifully. So the cast is great, and
Absolutely agree.
Jake Gyllenhaal is great. Like he's,
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel like he's one of the really underrated actors out there. Like
So,
he always makes weird, wonderful movies, and like I don't know, I just love his choices. And actually, so for a little bit of trivia, actually, Jake Gyllenhaal was one of the actors who was considered to be Spider-Man when the
Spider-Man
movie
in the
was
Sam
there.
Raimi version,
Yeah. So it's really nice to see him again to sort of be actually in a Spider-Man movie. And
I think in one of the interviews he also mentioned that he just feel lucky to be added, and people asked why didn't you take, and it said like this was the moment I had to be.
yeah.
So yeah, and I think that was like a good entrance.
Yeah, like there is a thing that I don't. I mean, like it's not a theory or whatever, but it's let's say it's a belief that in Hollywood, like things don't necessarily happen when you want them to. Like they
Yeah.
happen their own time. So and also like like the other thing is, so it's the same director John Watts who did also Homecoming. As a matter of fact, when you I still remember the text message back and forth when you invited me, when you actually proposed me to do this, which is, can we watch Spider-Man Far From Home and then record a podcast? And I said, wait, you haven't seen Far From Here? And so basically I was just confusing it with Homecoming, which yeah. So it's like the Planet of the Apes movies. I don't know which one is the first one, which one is the second one. Like yeah, basically. And John Watts. So I didn't know that he was just, I don't know how old he's now, but apparently. So I saw so I follow this YouTuber called Patrick H. Willems. Maybe you know him. He made a video about John Watts. Basically, he used to make YouTube videos, or sort of before YouTube existed. He made these short films with his friends, and it's really beautiful to see his journey. And actually now he's making Spider-Man movies and good movies, like so that's truly an inspiration for all these, including us who try to make YouTube videos, and we have this desire to make films one day. And I really loved it. I love the chemistry between the cast, and I would say it's really funny. I mean, actually, there are moments which were genuinely funny.
Like awkward moments that would actually otherwise communicate as very funny and kind of very relatable, actually.
Yeah. People talk about that comedy in big screen is in decline because the funny movies didn't make any business. Like there were, for example, the MIB International or something that came out. I think it was trying to be the comedy science fiction movie, but then I
Right.
think it failed because I mean, even though they had good chemistry, I didn't watch the movie, but I know I it didn't. I don't know. When I watched the trailer,
The
I was
new
like,
one,
it just felt like a sorry.
the new one, like with
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, the Chris
Chris
Hemsworth
Hemsworth.
and Tessa Thompson.
That's
Um, um, like uh, I don't know. When I watched the trailer, I was like, it's just really. I mean, again, I always follow my instinct. It really follows like just another money grab. So I didn't go watch it, and I don't think I'll go watch it. So I think everybody felt the same way, and I think it was a flop. So basically, so. Um,
I would say it was different. Yeah, it was different. I think as a character, I saw there was one.
oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw that movie. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
good to watch.
So
And
what did you think? Yeah.
of course, if you see it trying to be part of a franchise, this is like this will look like a money grabber. But again, it keeps reminding me of the conversation we had about movies trying to become a money grabber and movies really trying to be
Yes.
movies. Like when we had the conversation with our fellow movie watchers,
Yes.
your meetup friends.
Hmm.
No matter what is the intent of production, but the whole idea of a movie itself is to entertain people and get money in return. So I think if a movie is made to be a money grabber and it's just grabbing money, I think that's all right. Because that's the intent. End of the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
those people who are investing money, they invest
Yes.
because they want returns.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, they allow people who want to invest into their art, right? So be it acting, be it CGI, be it music, and everybody gets to do their part. Of course, everybody, there will be a time where everybody wants to invest and showcase something, they want to do it their way, but when it comes to a production house, I think everybody has to tone down their complete creativity and sometimes add to the whole movie instead of just adding to value to their own thing.
Mm,
I
mm.
mean, if you get
So yeah, the thing is, so yeah, so I mean, enough talking about the movie. So
like
let's
that's
dive
what
in
it's
into
about. Yeah,
the
it's about characters investing into different roles.
yes.
Chris Hemsworth was very different. That's what I was trying to say.
Mm.
That was nice to see. And you saw like there was Chris Hemsworth's movie in the Ghostbusters, right? The remade Ghostbusters with the rest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Which was a flop actually
which
also.
was a, but again, kind of in shows a new side of Chris Hemsworth, which is like
Oh,
being
actually, I mean, I am a big fan of Saturday Night Live, and in
yeah,
SNL, like I
exactly.
mean, Chris Hemsworth is like, I mean, I hate that guy because he's like, he's a really good actor. He's super funny, and he looks like that, right? I mean, it's you like, and he's charming, so it's like
Uh,
he has all the things. So,
it's like
uh,
you cannot take all the good qualities and put it into one man.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So anyway, so the no, of course, like again, if you haven't watched the movie, like it's like just go watch it because I think I mean it's not like Marvel needs our help, but um, it's if still some people are hesitating or I heard some people say that it feels too early, another Marvel movie just after Endgame. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really didn't
but
mind it. Actually, if
I
I
think
yeah
it kind of brings you out of that rhythm, which is actually a
yeah.
good thing
Mm-hmm.
because no matter what, the way the Marvel universe was designed, Phase 3, they made it as Phase 3, and Endgame was the end of Phase 3,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to leave it that way. We cannot
Yeah.
drag it. If they try to drag it because they thought the Endgame series was the Infinity War series, Infinity Gauntlet series was a great way of reaching out to audience, and if they go into money grabbing scheme, then things will fall apart. I'm so glad they didn't want to keep dragging the impact of Endgame and Infinity War, and keep doing it on the next movies.
Yeah.
And I think Far From Home is a great example of that.
Yeah. But and by the way, like so the reason why Venky mentioned meetup is because when we actually went to watch, we actually decided to watch only the two of us, and then we said, why don't we turn this into a meetup? And then actually
Yeah.
I created a meetup. And if you are in, so if you're watching this and if you are in Bangkok, actually you can. I'll be organizing more of these kinds of meetups. So if you can look for Bangkok Geeks, like that's my group of meetup. I organize like drawing lessons, or we just sit down and draw sometimes and hang out. Or like in this case, this is the first time I did this. Like go watch a movie together.
Yeah.
So and no, yeah, it was a really great movie. So now let's get into the story. So spoiler alert, like if you haven't watched this movie, or if you don't really care, you just want to see some people talk
Stop.
about, yeah,
Stop
if you
right.
just want to see some people talk about a Spider-Man movie and you don't really care how to, yeah, okay. So yeah, spoiler alert. So now we're going to get into the story. So I'll just try to remember as much as I can, and anyway, like I think the memorable moments will stand out, and I think so. We can just talk through the movie, and then just go through the movie, and then just talk about the favorite moments or comment on it, and of course we'll try to get to the end. And so okay, it won't take too long. So. So and by the way, Venky, like you can jump in if you see me like struggling, or I can ask you. So or
Absolutely.
if I forget something. So first of all, yeah, I think the movie starts with Nick Fury and Maria Hill. I think her name is Maria Hill. They go to Mexico, like a city in Mexico, which was ravaged by a cyclone, and people say that the cyclone had a face. And of course, like people actually see faces in cyclones in real life. Like I've seen like Instagram videos of people actually. It's like when you look into the clouds and you see a horse. Um, um, and actually, so suddenly we see like a monster just forming out of rocks, and we immediately see Mysterio. Like Jake Gyllenhaal appears,
Yeah.
and he says, "Who are you?" And then you see the trailer shot from. I
Yeah.
mean, you see the shot from the trailer. You don't want any part of this, and then
You
he's
don't want any part
yeah,
of this.
yes. Oh, by the way, talking about the trailer, did you notice that the scene that was in the trailer that was not in the movie? Where the scene where he talks to the cops, like hey, why didn't you I don't know, he said like, hey, why, like cops asked something and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
said, oh, that's
Because
because I'm too busy doing your
vacation.
work, like, and
Yeah.
I think that was cut off because I think that
Yeah.
was a scene just before the speech
Before
where
that,
he's at the homeless shelter. Yeah.
correct.
um
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
so yeah, so actually, so that's like a prologue for the movie, and then we get the credits, and it's really funny because it starts with Whitney Houston's
The song.
yeah,
I
what's the name? Like, I Will Always Love You, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And with really cheap edits of like pictures of Tony
Yeah.
Stark, all the heroes who died in the
Like a
basically.
school project. It's pretty much a school project,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So it's basically a video tribute to the heroes that they miss, and
The
it's
heroes,
yeah,
yeah.
and we cut to, I forgot. I mean, I don't know those kids' names, but that girl is, her name is Bridget or something. I don't know what's her name. I forgot. Something starts with B. Who so. And they actually, so it's like an exposition basically. It's a really clever way of doing exposition. So for those who
Exactly.
don't know what is exposition in a movie, exposition is when a character actually explains to the audience what happened or what's going to happen, or like just to explain to make sure that people understand so that we can go forward. And they did a really funny, yeah, clip.
The character
Mhm.
was Betty. Betty and yeah.
Betty,
Yeah.
thanks. Are you looking through IMDb or?
Of course.
That's great. Um, So yeah, Betty and the other guy, they make, they of course they say that, and they explain that people who blipped basically came back the same age, so they have to do the high school again.
Yeah.
But those
Reorient.
those who stayed in this reality, they actually aged 5 years. So
Yeah.
and it's And they explain this because there's this guy Brad who's in their class now, and he's this really handsome guy that all the girls want, and he's
Yeah.
interested in MJ. So, and then I think, and then immediately Peter comes into the screen and he explains to Ned his plan to actually propose or to actually say to MJ
Right.
that he likes her. And then it becomes a like sort of I mean, I've never seen John Hughes movies, but everybody makes that comparison. Like it becomes a John Hughes high school movie basically. We follow their shenanigans and they are in the flight.
Yeah.
Each one ribbing, make
Trip.
funning of them,
Yeah,
fun of
yeah.
each
It's like
other.
a high school trip kind of video movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, uh, and again, it never feels forced. Like it's really funny. Actually, these kids are really charming and they're really charismatic. So,
Yeah,
uh,
they hold a charisma. That's true.
yeah, even that guy Flash, like the who I think will become I think the bad guy or something. And So he's like drinking some champagne or something, uh, and MJ says he actually didn't blip. He's no, actually he blipped. He's not 18 yet, or and then the air hostess just takes the drink away, and and you immediately you are like, oh, okay, this movie is going to be fun. Like so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then so I mean I don't want to go through all the scenes, but they go to Venice, and Venice gets attacked by a water monster,
Uh,
and
and I think the whole concept of the blip was carried out very well.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so no character kind of struggled to express that
Yeah.
difference. And
No, I think this is going to be interesting. It's like I think they have so of course the fans will always nitpick and ask different
yeah,
questions like, oh, I mean, who was this person when this happened, or was and so I think they are going to answer all these questions through the next movies. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned the meetup because in the meetup I made a mistake because as a geek we're really into details. I mentioned that this is the last chapter of the phase 4. Actually, no, this is the phase 3. We are going into phase 4. So this is
that's
the
right.
last movie before we go into phase 4. So
Yeah,
that's why this movie is really important. So
correct.
um,
And it
uh,
did the job. It really
yeah, exactly.
closed the phase three well and brought into phase four actually. Like almost.
Wait, I think you broke off. So can you repeat again, Venky?
No, I mean I wanted to say is it kind of created a good end to phase three to move on from the end game and the blip and then go further into the stories. Right?
Yes,
So it's kind of a
exactly.
good closure actually.
Yeah. So they go to Venice. Venice gets attacked by this water monster, and this guy in cape again, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio comes and saves the day. And Peter tries to help. He says, "Oh, I can help you. I'm sticky." And then he puts on. And actually, right from the beginning, they put the importance of secret, like maintaining his secret identity. So
Correct. Yeah.
like he tries to put on the mask, the carnival mask, and try to save him. But actually, basically, like Peter fails in that thing. Like he tries his best, but he doesn't basically do anything. Like he you can see that, and you really feel that Spider-Man is powerless against this guy, and
Mm.
you feel like, this guy is going to be better than Spider-Man. Like so, it's really clever, like to put the stakes high so that
Yeah.
because in the beginning they really make you believe that he's going to be the good guy, and of course it's not, and people who know from the cartoons, the animated series, or from the
Oh,
comics,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
that's
that Mysterio is
like
he's
the
the
arch
master. Yeah,
nemesis. Yeah, it's one of the
yeah,
arch nemesis for
yeah,
Spider.
yeah. And my exposure to basically Mysterio for the first time was when I played. I don't even know the name of the game, but I remember I played the Spider-Man game in PS2,
Yeah, I
and
think that it had boss battle was Mysterio, like
yeah,
the final boss.
Mysterio was one of the bosses. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You had to go around like this. I still remember Um, anyway, so and then when they go, and again it's funny all the way, and it's they go to sleep in the hotel, and then of course you see the scene you see in the trailer, which is Nick Fury shows up, and
Yeah.
he shoots the dart, how do you call that, like the
Tranquilize.
dart, the
Tranquilize.
tranquilizer, and then knocks off Ned, and they have conversation, and then basically Nick Fury says, "We need you," to Peter Parker,
Hmm.
and so Peter Parker goes and meets with Quentin Beck,
Yeah.
like Mysterio, and then Mysterio basically explains that he comes from a parallel universe, and these elementals destroyed his planet, so he came here to destroy them, so he's basically here to save the planet, basically. um, and everything is great, but still, there's a line, I think, which was also, which is really surprising to me, because now they say bitch in a kid movie. I mean, it's a Disney movie. I mean, of course, it's, you would expect Samuel L. Jackson to do this. Um, and he says, "Yeah, but I can't do this, bitch. Please, you've been into space." It says
Yeah.
so it's like,
I think
and
you can easily see that become a meme so
yeah,
soon.
exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, about the Samuel L. Jackson performance, in
Yeah.
the other movies, he tones it down, and then he plays this really really
Actually, yeah,
stoic.
actually, since Captain Marvel, you can see that they're like toning it down and making him more grounded than
Yeah,
being the
that's the
serious character.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing. Again, we've already said spoilers, so I don't think I mean, we can say that. It's actually in the post-credit scene they reveal that
That
the Nick Fury that was here was not Nick Fury. It was
yeah,
actually Talos, the
yeah.
Kree, who, like, the shape-shifting alien, who was actually, I mean, him and Maria Hill were both. I don't
Yes.
remember his wife's name. Um, so and it really makes sense, because uh, an alien who watches Nick Fury, that's how he would play Samuel L. Jackson, like,
Yeah.
like the and so um, so you can see that he's having a lot of fun playing the role of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Um, and then so they said, so the plot is set up that the last one, the elementals, which is fire, which destroyed the planet, is going to show up in Prague,
Mm.
and basically Peter Parker says, "No, sorry, I can't join it. I have to be with my group. I mean, first of all, because I'm a kid, I need to be in this troop, and secondly, it would be really strange if suddenly Spider-Man shows up in Europe, and just when I'm in Europe, right? Uh,
Yeah.
oh,
So I
there's a thunder, like it thinks it's going to rain.
really.
So yeah. And then suddenly, when he goes back to the hotel, he noticed that the basically, he says Nick Fury basically hijacked our school trip, and then so
It's
basically,
vacation. Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
plan
Yeah.
changes. Um, and basically they go to Prague, they fight, and there is this really sweet moment between Mysterio and Spider-Man, where actually, he says, like, it's really nice to have someone to talk about all these superhero
Exactly. I
stuff.
think I realized like when Peter Parker was very persistent on not pursuing to be do the superhero work and always trying to go back. I realized he was recovering from this anxiety movement because he just lost his guardian, right? From
Yes.
Endgame, he lost Iron Man,
Yeah.
and that was a very big deal for him. And I think this vacation thing was, I guess, like therapeutic for Peter Parker to recover from all those loss and trying to go into normal life.
Yes.
And that's why he kept really focusing on trying to express what he feels for the girl, or being with his friends, or just focusing on being in the vacation, and not really thing. But he had to step up right because the threat was happening where his friends were.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Mm.
so that was
So yeah,
the
and again, this movie is so smart. Like, I mean, just when you think, I mean, if you think a little bit more about it, like um, um, for example, of course, after the snap, people would have a lot of questions, right? So
correct.
if you kept this movie in US,
Mm.
um, people would be asking like, oh, why didn't they answer this? Why didn't they answer that? So it was really smart to bring them to Europe. That way,
And I think
you could focus
yeah,
on the main
exactly.
characters.
Exactly, that's true. And also because we are completely Europe is a new environment for us. We do not think about any other Avengers actually,
Mm.
Avenger characters, be it Clint Barton or be it anybody. So that's actually one reason where it kind of says, okay, here's the spotlight on you, Spider-Man. It's just you. And
Yeah,
somehow the question that audience would have asked, Spider-Man himself asked, why can't you take help from Thor or Captain Marvel? And
yeah, exactly.
clearly, before even that question came, they kind of had the scene into it, and they kind of cut that entire idea of other Avengers being
Yeah,
available to help,
yeah.
right?
And
So
by the way, like, I mean, I have something to say about this, but because um, when you're watching the movie, like, you don't really think about this thing because the movie is moving like really at a fast pace. That
correct, yeah.
and then you're like, because it's easy for to come out of the movie and then say, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? And so actually, I don't. So for me, like when I watch the movie and I really enjoy the experience watching the movie,
Mm.
and then I have a nice feeling when I come out of the theater. That's what counts because sometimes you can listen to someone else's opinion and then it can change, right? So it's not
Easy,
really
yeah.
pure.
Yeah.
So your opinion doesn't. It's not pure anymore. So and especially with now with all the content that
There's
is
so
thrown
much
at us.
content that we are consuming all the time. It's
Yeah.
easily we could change. Yeah, we think it's
Yeah.
our idea, but it's influenced by so many things.
Yeah, yeah. So wait, let me grab a charger because I think my laptop is
Yeah,
running out of power.
sure, sure, yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, the I did this. I inked it and then I started. So I'm experimenting with watercolor, and
Wow,
after
that's
20 years, but then I didn't realize that the ink actually is not waterproof, so it it got mixed with the color. So I just stopped painting it, but I
okay. Yeah, this is like a new gradient Spider-Man suit, I think.
yeah, exactly. So I stopped coloring because you can see the boots are white and
Yeah, but man, the perspective is so good in your drawings. I love that part.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. Can, no, I think no, it's quite nice. I don't
it's,
know
it's
in what color it shows up in your screen, but it's
I mean,
no, actually, it's not. I just took
not
it from
black.
another.
Not black, but it kind of can see it's like a slow, slight move towards blue. So the colors are
Yeah,
like very relevant
exactly. Yeah,
with the final suit. Actually, it's the final suit, right, from the movie.
yeah, that's what I tried to do. And
Yeah,
anyway, so so where did I mean, where did I leave? The
we left at Quentin Beck talking like the moment where
mm,
Spider-Man feels alone and he feels comfortable having another person to talk to about the superhero stuff.
yeah, exactly.
So
So
exactly the
uh
superhero stuff. He calls that superhero stuff, right?
yeah. So it's basically yeah, Mysterio and Spider-Man working together, and
Mm,
there's this really great moment when when they see the monster coming,
yeah,
and Mysterio goes on your lead, Spider-Man, and like it's really like it's reminiscent of like the cartoons and like so,
yeah,
um, so no that was great, and then there's a fight, and then one of the something breaks off and then just falls out of the from the scene, and MJ actually sees it. Okay, I think we forgot to mention that. So they go watch an opera because, of course, like because Peter wants to protect his friends, so he wants them
Yeah.
to stay in an indoor setting. Um, and what
So
happens is, like MJ realizes that Peter just left, and she just follows him, and then like she looks for him, and there is this light festival or something, like in a really once in a year event, and there are a lot of people, so it's difficult to find. And same thing happens for Ned and like what's her
Becky,
name,
Becky,
Becky.
Becky.
They come out, and they're also looking for them, and so they get stuck in the action, basically in the fight,
Yeah,
and like because Becky and Ned, they go up with the Ferris wheel, and they get stuck there.
yeah.
Everybody runs
was
away.
there was very it was a very typical setup, but it kind of blends along well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, now if you look back on it, it feels like they were put
Very
there.
staged, right? It's very
Yeah,
staged, right?
yeah. Again, like now, because now he has a new suit, right? Like so,
Okay.
and she asks, like, "Is that Spider-Man?" And Ned goes, "No, no, no. He's just a European knockoff. Like, who is he? He's like Night Monkey." Like, and she goes, "Night Monkey, help us!" Like, and Spider-Man just looks up. He's like, who is that?" So so then he realizes that his friends are in danger. So Spider-Man does his best, and the fire monster gets stronger. And then and this moment is really good because it also affected me. And this is when I really know I'm in the hands of a really talented director. It's like when I actually know what they're doing, but actually it's really great what they're doing. Like sometimes
Yeah,
you're because I analyze movies so much, I can't watch a movie without analyzing it in real time.
right.
So sometimes when like, oh, I see what he's doing now. Wow, this is really great. So like for example, when he says, like like I'm going to do what I should have done already, and Mysterio just goes and sacrifices himself, and then it goes inside the monster, and it just explodes.
Yeah,
But I mean, he's okay. He's not. I mean, but for a moment you think, oh, he's going to die, and Peter is going to feel that loss again, and
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's seen Spider-Man, just after having that moment with his sort of mentor-mentee kind of
yeah.
relationship. But okay, everything goes really well, and Nick Fury comes back, and he's really happy, and the monster is defeated, and Nick Fury actually says, now are you interested in being part of the Avengers? And I think he's planning a meeting in Berlin
Mhm.
where he's going to basically, I guess, relaunch the Avengers.
Correct.
So
I think the internet
I
seems to be
think
break.
maybe that will be part of the next movie plot. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you broke actually. Your internet connection broke. So yeah. So actually, they kind of
Oh yeah, it says no connection.
one more funny thing was somehow they always are brought to the same place, and like how the shield works, like taking the people and changing the vacation, and the dumb teachers have no idea. They say, "Oh, we have been upgraded," and they kind of play along with it. I think they moved the setup from one location to another very well, and that's the whole. That's also actually the whole essence of Euro trip. When you say Euro trip, you just don't go to one place. And if everything was happening in one place, that would be different. So they kind of keep taking you also through different locations, like from Prague to France, and that was actually nice. And also the characters, yeah, that like you said, the individual characters, and beat where they shout out that, oh, this is Night Monkey, this is not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They kind of add a humor, but they add it in a way that we remember that humor. Actually,
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man being called as Night Monkey will be one of the memorable things about this movie. Actually,
Yeah. So
uh,
the I think, yeah. So that's. I
and
mean,
then some
again, they're setting up for Phase 4.
Yeah,
Sorry.
then they celebrate the victory over the fire monster, and that's the time he kind of he thinks he understood what Iron Man meant, but he makes a terrible mistake of giving Edith the control to the Iron Man's satellite
Yeah.
system
Yeah.
to Quentin, and immediately they kind of it's like the stage drama, right? When you see a stage drama from one scene to another, it dramatically changes, like completely from one set of different. That moment was very nice. Like when Spider-Man walks out and they change the whole thing completely. That was really
So
cool.
the of course, like again, we are not telling the full story detail. So
Yeah,
of
they
course,
just want.
like Nick Fury gives this, and he says like Tony Stark wanted to have this, and then he
Yeah,
opens. It's a glass which gives access to like the weaponized drones and the really sophisticated technology by Stark
yeah,
Industries.
yeah,
And it's Edith, and this is the really like uh, what is Edith like? Even
Edith.
death, I'm the hero, and it's like that's just brilliant. Um, and so and it came with a note that says for the next Tony Stark. And so not only there is the responsibility of being Spider-Man the superhero, now he realizes that he has the responsibility of being the next Tony Stark, no, like being the
Yeah,
next Iron Man.
yeah.
um
Kind of
yeah,
adds to the burden,
yeah,
that he already is facing. Yeah,
yes. So so the other thing is, so he gives that glasses, and of course he's a kid, right? So he naturally gravitates towards like like this kind of like sort of pseudo father figure and this mentor
yeah,
thing. And
yeah,
like there is a moment, there's a moment when he says, yeah, you wear it, and then he wears it, and it's and he just looks like Robert Downey Jr. And I remember like when that scene started, like when they pan and when they just pan into the bar and they're just sitting and talking, and the
yeah.
lady just comes in and hands him the glasses. I was like, I don't know. It feels too actually planned, right? And actually,
Uh,
it is planned because I think it's sort of a way to remind that he has these glasses, right? So
yeah,
and he even asks like, wait, all this glass was just laying on the floor, like he was just he's really pushing the needle on the fact that like just to make him understand that you are just, I mean, he's basically telling like you're just a kid, like like
yeah.
you can't take this responsibility. So and he's like like, and Mystery is all about this mind game.
Exactly.
Yeah, like he's
Exactly.
playing the
Mind.
game with him. Yeah. And so yeah, so he basically gives the glasses to Quentin Beck, and then
Yeah,
so that's the scene you say, like he walks out, and you are waiting like, wait, why are they showing this? And then slowly it pans on, and the bar this changes, like people and it's like actually Mysterio is not a one man; it's a team, and
it's a thing.
this is again like this is so smart to the
Your
Civil
voice.
War where Robert Downey
Can
Jr.
you, can you come back again? Your voice
So,
broke.
oh sorry. So they connected to Civil War where um, uh, I don't remember the full name, but the Robert Downey Jr. He, when they made him really young and
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to set up, and he
The
says
memory.
barf, yeah, he says
Yeah,
yeah, and turns out that this was Quentin's technology that actually basically Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark didn't respect, and
I think it
you
was a shout
really
out. It
uh
feels like shout out to Steve Jobs. It's like when.
exactly, yeah. I mean, he really says it like, I mean, nobody pays attention, like nobody cares if you're smart, and like everybody just wants the like someone the cape, and they will listen to a cape. So now I have a cape, and now, and she said now I have the power, and of course like having watched Nightcrawler, like Jake Gyllenhaal, like just
Yeah,
like he can play that kind of sociopath like like so well, like he's because he's basically like he just took advantage of a kid, basically of a high
correct,
school kid. So
correct.
and and they go back to even Iron Man 1, they connected to Iron Man 1, basically where Jeff Bridges is screaming at the guy, and that actor actually came back to play the one of the team members of Quentin Beck's team, and he's like, Tony Stark built this in a cave, and he's like this. I mean, I love the way and he just screams at the guy, and he says, "I'm not Tony Stark," So, and
Hello.
and actually,
I
example,
think
Steve Jobs.
again it broke. Again it broke. Come back to
Uh,
the Tony
yeah,
Stark
sure.
built the cave.
No, I said like you took the perfect example of Steve Jobs, which
Yeah.
for Apple. If you ask someone, do you know who designed iPhone? People will say Steve Jobs, right? But
Yeah.
it's not Steve Jobs who designed, like, and people don't know even his name. And in the movie, he was he's a British engineer dude, like an engineer
Yeah.
designed that thing.
Yeah.
Basically, Steve Jobs was the salesperson, like he was selling
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
So
Face
yeah.
the company, but he wasn't the whole company himself.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really good. Again, this movie is so smart. It really like they really can make it really relevant and um, so uh, so okay. So now to continue again. So now we
Yes.
understand that the real face of Quentin.
Yeah, the
Uh,
entire thing was staged, and it was a team of misfits. Actually, it's like a band of misfits. They kind of
yes.
teaming up together and trying to have that recognition that they feel like they deserved, but they didn't get.
Yes.
But going too far, actually, going too
Sure.
far that, and Sunday, yeah, they claim all the things that they developed for Tony Stark's company, and now they feel like they're in control.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was funny because there was no revelation of Quentin Beck being the actor, like the acting part. So it feels like he's like such a stage player who is using his ability over control over the technology to showcase his acting skills. But yeah, somehow that part is skipped, and they directly show him trying to stage all these things, and it also shows kind of like, yeah, how like in Iron Man 3, where they used the Mandarin as a
Exactly. Yeah.
cover for mistakes. Here they kind of build a cover, and then they make a hero out of him, like the way they did villain from all these random accidents, actually, from the Killian's Aldrich Killian's thing. So that was kind of a lot of events were recollection from different setups from different parts of the Marvel movies, kind of uh, be it even in this case, like Spider-Man Homecoming, like I think I mentioned it even the day we watched the movie. In Spider-Man Homecoming, the villain was a person who was affected by the actions done by the Avengers. Like, so these were the cleanup crew, but they were never recognized. So every time they go and
Exactly.
do a big fight, the consequences, these are the people dealing with the consequences, and they feel like they were never recognized, and now they are looking for recognition. I think the story here is also the same. It's just people
Yeah.
who put effort into making those Avengers in the technology thing, and now they're using the technology to get that recognition for themselves. Pretty much fame, a story of people searching for fame,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, actually, so in terms of, I mean, again, this will be brought up, like as a negative point, which is, um, of course, like uh, in Homecoming, the villain was more complex or more believable because he just wants to make a living, and then
Correct.
his livelihood was taken away by Tony Stark
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
company. And here, like I think, and actually it's justified because in the next scenes where they are planning their next battle, when they are
yeah,
actually choreographing and they're like he's the director and he's directing the special the special
Like
effects.
testing, yeah, they're testing the
Yeah,
effects.
yeah, and you see why this guy is doing this because he's crazy actually. Like he gets actually he turns the drones and then he tries to shoot his crew, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
forces them. You think that they're working together, but actually he's actually forcing them to do things like
Again, yeah, again, he has become crazy, and now he is using his ability, like his power, because again, even in this case, he is the face of this entire event, right? Like being Mysterio, it's only him. No one sees the people controlling the drone. No one sees the people designing this thing and all the other roles. So it's again coming back to the same situation. What happened with Iron Man? Like he's in the front, so people don't get to see who is in the behind. Now that shoes is worn by Mysterio. Now he's in the front, and he feels like his idea is more important. He starts threatening the people, the team itself, to get the things done. And finally, yeah, they kind of end up planning, and again it kind of diverts from this again because it was focusing too much on their next plan, and they go back to MJ finding that broken piece of tech, and the kind of moves the story plot forward.
yes.
So
And this is actually very smart because I see this kind of trend with superhero movies now. I mean, I don't want to make a generalization, but for example, when they did Man of Steel, like they just
yeah.
set up the fact that Lois Lane already knows that Clark Kent is Superman. Like, because nowadays it would be really basically stupid to say that a journalist wouldn't know the difference between a guy with glasses and a guy with a glass. So it's same here, like like and she even says like, and she says I was only 67% sure, and he actually admits that he's Spider-Man, right? And they actually figure out that it was a projector, and so basically he realizes what mistake he has done because he has basically given power to Quentin Beck, and then and one of the things I again, so I don't want to go through the full movie, but basically, yeah, the final Avengers level threat, as he calls it, like takes place in London. They plan a threat in London, and they again. But this time, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, knows exactly what he has to do, and okay. Before that, of course, Mysterio does what he does best, which is he tricks Spider-Man to come into like into an abandoned building, and then he just like he does that like the like illusion trick on him. Yeah.
Yeah, he just buffed Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So and then yeah, basically Spider-Man gets beaten up, and he, again
those scenes were visually stunning. I would say those scenes were very beautifully designed.
Yes.
And like again, there's like 3 layers of illusion. Like he kind of realizes he found out, then again he is in another illusion. And I think they used the concept of what they did in Doctor Strange, right? The Doctor Strange is pretty much like do this visual illusions, and I think they used probably the team worked, or I'm not sure, but I saw that style of creating this kind of multi-dimensional illusions, like fractal design. And then eventually again he's hit by a train, and that's kind of again where like a hero is beaten down, and then he kind of stands up again, recovering from all his mistakes, and then moving forward to settle the come to the final part actually. Yeah,
again, like I said, like Tom Holland plays it so well. Like I mean, I still remember like that scene in Homecoming, and when I watched it in India with my friends, and because I was visiting India at the time, and I remember, I mean, I exactly knew which moment in comics they were paying tribute to, and this was perfect. Like the what can I say? It was like, when he screams, like, and he's a kid, and he tries to push the rubble on, like he's covered in
Yeah,
thing, and in
yeah,
Homecoming he
Homecoming.
tries
Correct,
to,
correct, correct,
yeah,
correct.
and he screams help, and it's like it's, and that's really powerful. And same thing happens here, like when he um when Happy comes to pick him up, he's like, wait, are you? And no, like, are you? And he even doubts like that if Happy is real because he's been
Yeah,
so under, like he just came out of this really horrible trip, basically, it's like sort of psychedelic trip, and he's like questioning everything, and so. Um, and again, this is the moment when actually I went to the toilet. So I think there was this. I mean, but I heard others speak about this moment where, there's a sweet moment. Of course, the conversation between Happy and Peter Parker.
yeah,
Um, and I heard that when he's redesigning the suit,
correct.
he does what Tony Stark does with the, like, and then they
Thanks.
said that they show Happy looking at Peter Parker and having this moment of like, oh, like he's
Uh,
doing the same thing as
I think,
Stark.
yeah, he kind of shows that the legacy is moving forward from Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah. So I was not there to actually watch that scene.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I hate with long movies, which is at certain point I have to go to the toilet.
Something we didn't appreciate, but yeah, the breaks that we have, like 20 minutes break in Indian cinema theaters.
Oh yes, yes, exactly. No, but and then again the third act starts basically, and and again, even good movies actually right before the third act it lags a little bit, like there is a slow, like you are basically
Correct.
wondering when are they going to get over the scene, and this never happened to me personally in this movie. Like I was never bored of like, oh, just go to the next scene. No, I was never like that. I was all in, and I think it's credit goes to like a director, the performance, the editing, and the visual effects
I
and
think, yeah, that is true. But I would say, yeah, I would say because you went for a break in between, I think you got that escape. For me, there was a short moment where you feel that small disconnect because either usually this happens when when the movie tries to say in this keep in the same part of the story for too long, we feel that disconnect, or if it's changing too constantly, also we can feel that disconnect. So I think I had the disconnect, like when they were showing that illusion too long. That's what I felt, because like he realizes, he sees Nick Fury and he talks to Nick Fury, then he realizes that is also illusion, like multiple illusions, and then he's hit by a train. There's like too many events happening, so that was kind of a bit, uh, not too much, but little bit kind of put me away because those changes was very drastic. But then eventually, as the movie moved forward, and there was a time recovery time where they just show Spider-Man preparing for his next plan. That was a kind of recovery time, and I think, yeah, the overall the movie was well balanced, and they didn't show anybody too much or they didn't show anybody too little, and equally almost all characters were given importance, right from Spider-Man all the way till those dumb teachers doing all the stupid things, being it running or being it trying to save the kids and failing miserably, and the teacher who has been there since Homecoming, right? Even when they
Yes.
go
Yeah.
to Washington for the quiz and this that.
Yeah, I think he's the guy from Silicon Valley. I heard
Yeah, yeah,
I heard he plays in Silicon. I've not seen this show, but I've heard great things about the show.
yeah.
And yeah, you can maybe look up his name, but he's I really love the moment when he's like, I thought my wife was just blipped away, but then she just ran out with another guy, and it's like, we had a fake funeral. No, actually, the funeral was real, but and then that moment was like so good. Um,
Like a very typical, like very natural characters actually. Even though
yeah.
it's hilarious, feels staged, but these are some natural movements we come across. But again, it's very
And
nice
yeah,
to.
there was also a moment where I was almost thinking like this comedy sensitivity almost seems very Indian, because I would really see these jokes translated well in Tamil, because I don't know. I can only imagine like how it would be in like translated, like dubbed in Tamil. But I think this timing would really work in India, like everywhere. I think so. So basically, like Spider-Man fights, and this is the in the movie we get to see Spider-Man do smart stuff,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
whether it's retuning the suit, or at the end when he actually needs to jump up and then punch basically Mysterio. He tries to put together a small device that, like, I think pushes him like towards like the up, and again it's really great. And again, to bring it to another relevance point is, of course, he kills. I mean, he kills like uh, the drones actually shoot by mistake Quentin,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Quentin,
yeah.
you just when you think he's dead, like of course
I
the
think that's true. That is
superpower they introduce,
yeah,
Spider Sense, comes in and then it helps
correct.
him defeat
Peter Tinkle.
Peter Tingle. Yeah.
That was
Um,
yeah.
I mean, they made a dick joke in a Disney movie, like
I
like
know, right?
Nick Fury asks, yeah,
It's a continuity joke. They show it a little bit in the front. We laugh. I thought
yeah,
they will move on, but they kind of keep bringing it, and it never gets old actually.
yeah. So it's maybe because maybe in the next movie Mary Jane will tell him like, why aren't you calling it Peter Tinkle? Just call it Spider Sense, and maybe like she will be.
They will come. Yeah.
Um,
I think yeah. Every time they kind of deviate from the comic a little bit, they kind of
yes.
redefine the background behind each concepts shown in the comics.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of like Nick, like when Spider-Man in his back is in his black suit, and Nick
Yeah.
Fury asks him like, "So how's the new suit?" It's a little tighter than the little web shooter. It's like, like, oh my god, they just made reference to his thing. So um, no, but okay, so and I really love the fact that when he dies, he just says, people just look for something to believe, and nowadays they'll believe anything. And that's, like with all the, like, we are bombarded by things, and it's like people coming up with theories, flat earthers, people protesting against vaccinations, and blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
I think that is
It's
true.
yeah,
We discussed like just before this discussion started, we were discussing like people are always constantly putting it out there, but there are people who put constantly out there, but there are people who keep consuming. So for me, I have been a very good listener. I like to observe things, but when there is so much coming in into us, we kind of
wait,
get overwhelmed.
wait. I think you just cut off completely. Like, just repeat the full sentence.
No. I was just talking about being overwhelmed. Like we in our previous conversation, we were talking about how people keep putting out content outside, right? So we are constantly bombarded with so much information, and it can easily put us off from what we really want to achieve with our life. Sometimes we adapt and we think if we see one content for too long, we think that's what we want to do. And when we do
Yes,
it, we
exactly.
realize because I was watching the other person do it for so long, and
Yes.
now I feel like that's me. But then when we realize halfway, so we are always going into different aspects, even before realizing what we are really interested in. So that is true. Like that's a pretty example. Like for Quentin Beck, he said, "Okay, I don't need to wait for a real situation and then try to solve it to become a superhero. I just do it, and the people will still believe me that I'm a
Yeah,
hero."
exactly. Yeah.
So because they do not have enough time to analyze or justify that, okay, this was a real reason or stuff, because people are constantly moving on. And just one video of this guy Mysterio acting like a hero and trying to fight the monster will be always out there on the internet. So a person who doesn't know Mysterio and he sees this video and then he will instantly believe, oh, this guy is cool, he did something, no matter what happened after, no matter what happened before.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think no one will have enough patience to go and analyze unless he is really passionate about that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's actually a very big nod to how today's world is consuming information and how it affects our life. We think, oh, I'm just going to watch to relax, but this relaxation of watching into consuming content from internet is pretty much more than how much we invest into our work or our daily life. Actually, it's a big part of our life.
Yeah, so I'm
So,
just looking through my notes also, like, so there's
hmm,
also really sweet the relationship between Marisa Tomei, who actually plays
exactly.
uh, um, yeah, and John Favreau. So yeah, I really, I really love that. Uh,
Let's arrive there from the story itself. Like after the London, this happens after the London thing, right? Like once Quentin Beck is dead and all the event is complete, he comes back and then he say, okay, now you have to tell me what's going on between you and thing, which was like really sweet. At the
yes.
same time, the it's a very big hats off to the editors. They completely put a different scene in a place where you would be expecting something else. I almost felt like the first Iron Man movie because it's very easy to relatable because we are talking about who is going to be the next Iron Man or
Mm,
like the who is going to fill in the shoes.
yes.
And they show all these big events happen and they end with this guy talking. Okay, so the if you go back and see the first Iron Man movie where he thinks in the press media speech, and he thinks about whether he should say that he's Iron Man or
Yes.
not, and he just goes for it. He just goes for it, and the situation is repeated in the first of the movie. They show this guy is very anxious in front of the media, and then there is a big change in his confidence after dealing with all the troubles. And now started. He's doing many other things. Like his confidence level has completely changed, and it's about his belief in his. Pretty much Peter Tingle and everything is about belief, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The talk of Peter Tingle that you have to trust your instincts, those things were just reaffirmation for to okay, you have to believe in yourself, only then you can do what you want to do with full confidence, and you can fully invest yourself into that. That was kind of, yeah, Marvel movies touch into lots of psychological
I
topics
mean,
these days.
especially Spider-Man is. I mean, that's why Spider-Man is my favorite, I think, Marvel character because, to be honest, I think before we watched the movie, I really said it. Like before the movies, actually, before the Marvel movies, like I didn't really care about Iron Man. I didn't really care about Captain America, like Thor. I mean, I know that they existed, and I'm sure there are a lot of comic book fans who followed their stories for over long,
Yeah, but
for years.
yeah, it's like a story that is out there. We can look up to the story, but we cannot translate it into our own.
Yes. Yeah. So the like I really feel that the actors really brought something to this character, so that's why like they made them so likable. Like, but Spider-Man is in a character in itself is very compelling. So whoever plays him, they have to be try to be loyal, or they have to understand the core of that character. Like Batman in as a character in himself is very iconic. Like so
Correct.
now it's just up to the actor not to mess it up actually. So and yeah, so I so again they're talking about relevance. So we see, I think they also like link to the really great video game that in the PS4 that had really great success recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because when he's swinging actually at the end of the New York, he's taking a selfie in his cell phone, and MJ is saying don't swing and text. Um, and then he takes MJ on a ride, and it's like, oh, this is a happy ending and
It's
everything is good. And
very
then
comical. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then suddenly he's in the Times Square, and the big screen pops up, and it's it's the last card that Quentin Beck had in his sleeve, which is he actually made it look like Spider-Man
Spider-Man
actually
was the bad guy. Yeah,
was the
yeah,
bad
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
And this is the really great when they circle back to Sam Raimi movies that like fans really love. They bring back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and
I'm
it's
not
and
sure. I'm not sure if Marvel movies are like they're obligated to connect back to that the original movies that Sony production launched. But yeah, they do it very nicely. Kind of
well, actually, this is a
tribute.
Sony. I mean, it is basically a Sony movie. It's just like, with a collaboration with Marvel, I think.
Yeah, it is a collaboration, but actually, for a long time, Sony was very obsessed with owning the rights and usage rights. Right, that was the
Yes. Yeah.
issues. Pretty much, I think the Fox movies had issues, same issues with X-Men, and
Yeah.
Sony had issues with all the characters it owned. Then DC Comics, they had issues with Warner Bros. Like where they feel like every time these characters are referenced, they need to be credited. And I think allowing Marvel, that kind of gives you the way they kind of take forward the contract signing between Marvel Cinema and Marvel Universe and Sony Pictures. And they say, okay, I know, we are taking your prized possession, which is Spider-Man, but we are not going to completely change and bring something new. Here's some hats off to the original approach to the Spider-Man. They always, I think, pay equal tribute to movies. I think they did it in the Homecoming and also in this one, probably in the next one too.
Yeah. And so yeah, and at the end, so and when you think that okay, it's okay, oh, so okay, so he's the bad guy, and then they put another one, which is they reveal that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and they put the picture in the
Completely.
yeah.
All
So
that effort that Spider-Man was putting in the entire movie was like just snapped out by one video. Like
so wait.
being
So
like,
I think again you broke off, Venky. Can you speak
yeah.
again?
I mean, all that effort that Peter Parker took as a Spider-Man from movie beginning, be it protecting his identity or being it trying to get Mysterio out because he was fooling people, and all that effort was instantly snapped out by that video. So that was like that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. That's actually what happens all the time in social media, right? Is one person tries to be something, and then suddenly some event happens, and completely everybody turns, and the viewers are always
Venky, actually, it's. I think the connection is getting really worse. I think maybe it's raining or something. I don't know why, but
yeah. So yeah, we
the
can conclude. We can slowly conclude, and I think we
yeah, I
can.
think let's just let's just wrap it up because I think
Yeah.
I mean I don't know how many people are listening by this time, but no, but anyway, no, I think we got to the end. So I think
Yeah.
we said everything. So I was just going to the notes, and I think and also the last thing I wanted to say, which was two more details, which is again to bring it back to relevance. J. Johnny Jameson is not editor at a newspaper because that's not that's not. But he's some sort of Alex Jones types who actually screams at the audience and then like Infowars and then like conspiracy theorist and which is more relevant now
And in today's world, I
yeah,
think
that's a
nobody
really
cares
smart
about
choice.
newspapers now, right? Nobody
Yeah.
cares about newspapers anymore
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. It's just I mean, there are only a few of them are surviving anyway. I think like the big ones, like New York Times and so on. But even then, like they are trying to become digital and.
I mean,
So
yeah, they pay tribute to the timeline. Timeline has been very important factor for the Marvel movies. It didn't show. I think I would still think when they made the first movies, they did not have an idea, but somehow they manifested this concept of a bigger timeline, and they hold on to it well. They show as much as they show the changes in the actors themselves, they show the changes in the environment itself, right? How the world works around it, be it from Captain America World War II time,
So,
or
yeah. So the no, that's a really good point. And the I think that, I mean, if we have to talk about the negative point, is that people maybe, I mean, at least I felt it that. But then you can also use the excuse that these are high school kids. But like Mary Jane, she was not. I mean, yeah, she was paying attention to Peter, but suddenly just see this complete change to actually like liking her. But actually, that happens in high school. Actually, like like you sort of like one girl, and then you like an like so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
When you get to talk, you pretend to be as if you don't care, and then you do.
yeah.
I think it's
I
like
mean,
a
it happens with Ned, right? Ned is like when a man and woman meet, it's like he's like, I mean, that guy is like every scene he's in, it's like really funny, and it's
yes. I mean,
uh,
his dialogues are mostly quips. It's not like a
yes,
series of dialogues. It's usually like
yeah,
quips.
yeah, yeah. So, and just the one final one, and then we can wrap it up. Is
Yeah.
from my side is Mary Jane, when they're all trapped in this thing and they are waiting actually for the drone, and the drones are like breaking in through the door.
Correct.
Everybody just confesses, and of course there's this really funny moment where Happy says, "I'm in love with Peter Parker's Spider-Man's aunt, or like
Yeah.
Aunt May." And then Mary Jane says, "Sorry, I have to tell the truth even if it hurts people." And I just really love that. I mean, I'm sure they just put that line there, but that's a really good trait for becoming a reporter, because I think she will become in a future reporter, and that's one of the, like revealing the truth even without actually, So no, I think there's a lot of smart things, a lot of potential, a lot of questions answered, and of course questions. And I don't know, I know that a lot of people still criticize these movies. They say, "Oh, these movies are not really movies; they are like TV shows." I'm like, so what? Like, like
Oh,
the
right.
so
I mean,
the people,
if it is
yeah,
doing more than just entertaining, I think they are already doing a great job.
exactly. And the thing is, when people always complain that people stay at home and watch Netflix, these are the movies that are bringing people to the theater. I feel like,
Exactly.
like the
Exactly. I would agree.
so yeah. So that's why like these theaters, like they book all these like screening rooms to actually project these movies. So Venky, to finish, do you have any other comments or any other points you want to add, or that, because I just thought I speak too much, so like
Yeah, I think by this time, I would say if you're going to watch any Marvel movies, you should go watch it as a part of the entire Marvel universe and stop clinging on to one or two characters. I think only then you can move forward. Otherwise, you'll always have something to
well, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, yeah.
criticize about the characters,
Mm-hmm.
because the movie is not meant to add value to the character, but it's meant to add value to the entire universe, actually, the entire
Yeah.
cinematic scale. At the same time, it's great that they also pay attention to the growth in the character. But yeah, if you are a fan for particular Spider-Man movie, and then you start making expectations, I think that's when you stop enjoying the movie for what it shows, and you start cringing about what it isn't. And I would say, yeah, this is definitely watchable movie, and actually rewatchable movie. Probably if you would like to watch it again before the next Spider-Man movie, I would for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Not the next Avenger movie, maybe the next Spider-Man movie. It is definitely worth watching again. And the characters, the story, the plot, everything is like really good quality.
Mm-hmm. So let's just wrap it up there. So again, I'd like to thank Venky for bearing this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, yeah. Because
So yeah,
we
so
plan.
again, can you remind people where they can find you? Mhm.
Yeah, you can always find me on Instagram as Venky's Living, and discussing about this genre is very new for me. I haven't done it before, so if you are going to my channel looking for these kind of movie essays or podcasts, you won't find it. For that, you have to visit Boris's channel. If you like travel, if you are in Thailand or if you like traveling and you want to know more about it, you can always find me on Instagram and maybe hit me a message. I'm always there to help and give you any travel tips that I thought is useful as far as traveling in Asia goes.
Yeah, so it's at Venky is living, right?
Venky is Living. You can find me on Instagram, and you can also find me as Venky is Living on YouTube. So I used to make travel videos. Right now, I'm in a recovery phase to be more creative, and I think you will see more videos soon down the line.
That's great. Looking forward to it. So as I said, I'm Boris, Movie Messenger. So if you like this kind of content, like and share and subscribe. Um, and I think I hope that we will have. I mean, of course, I always love talking about movies. So I hope we'll do this another time for another movie, and hopefully, I understand. I think I was more excited, as you can see, like I was taking the mic over. But no, this was a really great experiment, like recording like the video, because like I always want to talk about movies, but then it doesn't end up happening because of schedule.
Yeah, schedule problems, priorities changes.
And, yeah.
You
So
broke
yeah,
up.
so
You want to repeat the last sentence?
oh, sorry. No, I just said, we can, if this format is really works, I think we can do
I
more.
mean, yeah, it really helps to keep the flow of ideas, and make keep the discussion going. And yeah, that would be cool. Of course, doing is more important than deciding how to do. We can always look forward to do a better podcast or like a video essay. But yeah, but we have to keep this ideas flowing. That's very important.
Yeah. So, okay, let's just stop it here. So,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much,
All
guys.
right.
See you
Thank you guys
later.
for watching, and see you
Yeah.
later. Go
Bye.
watch the movies if you haven't already.
See you.